Hey guys, John V from PhoneArena here. You're watching our video review of the HTC One Mini 2. Now that didn't take HTC long to do. Over a month after the release of the HTC One M8, we're finally seeing its miniaturized version in the HTC One Mini 2. Of course, its target audience are those users who love the M8's stunning beauty and premium design, but wanted a more form-fitting package. The question that remains on everyone's mind is whether or not the HTC One Mini 2 is for you. After the Sony Xperia Z1 Compact, it kind of set the bar in terms of what we expect from mini smartphones. In true fashion, the HTC One Mini 2 employs the same lovable design language of the M8, but a more form-fitting package. The result, of course, is that we have a handset that's more form-fitting and easier to hold with one hand so that our thumb is able to encompass the entire layout of its screen. The handset is just beautiful thanks to its unibody, brushed aluminum construction. It's sturdy and gives it a very premium quality. Unlike the M8, which has its aluminum materials going to the edge of the handset, the HTC One Mini 2 has this plastic polycarbonate trim outlining the sides of the handset. It's not as profound here with the gunmetal gray version, but it's more evident with the glacier silver one. Other changes to the phone include the omission of an IR blaster. The 3.5mm headset jack has been placed on the top edge this time. The power button moves from the top right corner to the top left. Still has a good responsive feel. The volume control is still on the right side. Our unit has a silver finish to it, but HTC says that the final retail version is going to have a uniform gunmetal gray version. And you have the micro SD card slot to increase its storage capacity, while at the bottom we just have the micro USB port. It's a departure indeed, especially when HTC has touted highly about its ultra-pixel camera technology in the past. With HTC One Mini 2, it features a 13-megapixel autofocus camera with a backside illuminated sensor, an f2.2 aperture lens, and just a single LED flash. With its reduced size, we also see its display scaled down. It's a 4.5-inch 720p Super LCD 3 display. Yeah, we know it's not as detailed as the display on the HTC One M8, but it doesn't have to be just because it still proves more than usable in making out fine details. Just like the M8's display, the one here is very potent with its brightness output, so it's very easy to view outdoors. At the same time, the color reproduction has a very robust tone to them. The only thing different we notice is just the viewing angle's not quite as the same, it's a little bit weaker. Part of its signature looks include a front-facing 5-megapixel wide-angle camera like the one the M8, and also has two front-firing speakers with HTC Boom sound. Out of box, you get the Sense 6.0 user interface running on top of Android 4.4.2 KitKat, so the same experience found with the M8, so that includes things like the HTC Blink feed for your social networking stuff, and continues to be one of the more modern and clean-looking UIs out there. However, we see a reduction with its functionality just because the Mini 2 lacks an IR blaster, so you don't get the HTC TV application. At the same time, it doesn't have the HTC One M8's various motion launch gestures where we could do a bunch of different stuff from the lock screen. Despite that, we just like it that the experience is intuitive and straightforward, so there aren't that many complications with it. Just like some other mini phones, we see a lower grade processor here. It's a quad-core 1.2 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor coupled with 1 GB of RAM. It's snappy for the most part, especially with the basic tasks, and to an extent you could play some games, but don't expect the same fluid 3D visuals that you find on HTC's flagship. As we've alluded to earlier already, the smaller size makes it easier to type messages with one hand, so our thumb's able to encompass the entire layout, snappy, responsive, and we have a lot of different punctuations accessible from the main layout. In terms of connectivity, you have 4G LTE, so you can expect to get fast page loads with the handset. And as far as the overall web browsing experience, it's top-notch just because it's responsive and page rendering is quick on the fly. You can always use the Google Play Music application to listen to music, but you also have the Sense Music Player, and it's definitely one of the more inviting ones out there just because it has top-notch visuals thanks to the visualizer option right here. So you get some nifty effects as you're playing a song, and you also get lyrics too, so you could sing along as well. The audio quality is superb too with the dual front-firing speakers with HTC boom sound. You get some good oomph. Not quite as strong as the One M8, but still good enough. It's even great for watching videos just because it has support for a wide array of different codecs, and with those front-firing speakers, they make for an ideal experience. Another area that we find changes with the phone is found with the camera application. Now the interface is identical, it's clean looking, but we just see some omissions with its modes. So you have only 3, whereas with the M8 you had additional ones like the dual capture, the pan 360, and Zoe modes. Despite those omissions, we still have plenty of manual controls that will appease even the most hardened shutterbugs out there. So how does the new 13 megapixel camera of the HTC One Mini 2 fare? Well, we gotta say it's good, it's average, nothing really too stellar. It actually improves on the biggest weakness that we saw with the HTC One M8's camera. It's the details department, and with this, we definitely see far more detailed capture than what we saw with HTC One M8. But at the same time, colors tend to have a little bit more of a warmer tone, and in general, photos tend to seem a little bit more underexposed. So even though it wins in the details department over the M8, the HTC One Mini 2 doesn't perform as good in the low lighting department. It's actually a little bit worse than the M8 just because overall photos are darker, it's not as exposed as we like, a little bit more on the underexposed side, to tell the truth. At the same time, those details now become grainier. As for its video recording quality, 1080p videos, it's also average, nothing too astounding with the results. You get some good looking details paired up with some very punchy looking colors and a smooth 30 frames per second capture, but some of the distracting elements is the fact that it lacks continuous autofocus and it doesn't have optical image stabilization, so you tend to see a little bit of jitteriness with the video. Call quality of the phone is pretty good just because you get ample amount of volume through the earpiece and even the speakerphone. Voices on our end of the line through the earpiece just have a little bit of hollowness, but for the most part, they're still more than audible, and in noisy environments, no problem whatsoever with the phone. On the other end of the line, our callers didn't have any issues. Voices sound distinctive and clear. A smaller size phone, you get also a smaller size battery. It's a 2100 milliamp hour one to be exact, and in our battery benchmark test, it achieved almost 6.5 hours of usage from a full battery, which is average to say the least. In our real world experience, we managed to get approximately 1 day of normal usage out of it. In true fashion, the HTC One Mini 2 sees a lower cost than the HTC One M8. That's not surprising considering that you're getting a smaller size handset with some reduced functionality, but at the end of the day, you're still getting that fantastic build quality and mostly the same experience. Even though there aren't any official carrier announcements regarding its availability here stateside, when it does happen, you can expect to see the HTC One Mini 2 being priced at $100 with a 2-year contract. And of course, you're going to see also a reduction with its outright price. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't quite break any new ground. So if you guys want to learn more about the HTC One Mini 2, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. John V. Thanks for watching.